You're listening to The Plumbing Sales Coach, where we give companies the strategies and skills to create a massive customer following.
Fresh.
Thank you for making us part of Spotify's top 10% most shared and followed podcast. And now, your host, Chris.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Fresh Approach. I'm your host, CF, the Plumbing Sales Coach. We're going to talk about where all the good employees are at. Where have they gone? Are they still out there? So many people tell me all the time it's hard to find good plumbers. It's hard to find good employees. It's hard to find good people. Whether you're trying to hire people for your staff, whether you're trying to, in the office or whether it be out in the field, it can be difficult. And not only that, how do you get people ready for assimilation, meaning promotion, and to grow within your company and to find and hold down new positions that can help you scale and grow? And so we're going to talk about that very thing today, because there's a story of a company out here in Indianapolis that have grown quite a bit. They have really blown it up. And what they've done is they've gone from a self-employed local family shop where it was all family to now running roughly 6-7 trucks, and they are killing it in the $3 to $4 million march. And I love watching their story, and it's so fun to talk about the revenue. It's so fun to talk about the conversion of not only the conversion of their company, but the way that they convert now and how they're able to convert at such a high level, 90%, 95% at times. And I love that about them, and they've got great ticket averages. But really, the story that's really fun to tell is how they went from not ever being able to get anyone to apply and all the problems that they went through there to now, and even when people would apply, they wouldn't show up for interviews, and how they actually were able to now attract people and sometimes have to hold off on hiring people because they're not ready. They're not ready for the growth. And so really fun to see, really awesome to watch. And we're going to talk about exactly how they positioned themselves, how they altered that, how they went from really not being attractive to being attractive, to how people went from not even knowing who they were, or maybe knowing who they were and not wanting to work for them. We'll talk a little bit about that, but also going to wanting to work for them and wanting to be on that team and desiring to be on that team, and even approaching them and saying, how can I get on that team? And I have other people that want to be on this team. And so we're going to talk about that. It's a lot of fun. It's a great story. But before we dive too far in, we've got a little thing going right now. If you leave a review on our podcast, whether it be Apple or whether it be Spotify, if you leave a review on the podcast itself, and then you email us in and let us know you did that, we will enter you into a drawing. We're going to have that drawing around July 4th. It's going to be July 4th. It's not going to be around July 4th. It is going to be July 4th. And we're going to take everyone that's into the drawing. You can enter in every single podcast episode that's been released a couple weeks ago up until July 4th. And so you just go back, leave a review on that podcast. We'll say any podcast in May, June time frame. So you can go back to even an older podcast before we started running the contest. As long as it's a May released podcast episode, you can go on there, leave a review, and then you email us in. And each time you do that, you get an entry into the drawing. And I believe I think it's a $400 Visa gift card that we're giving away for that drawing. So make sure you get into that, because it's $400 cash just for leaving a review and telling honest feedback about the podcast, and then also emailing us in so we can put you in the drawing. Make sure you send us some sort of way to contact you in case you win, so we can get that to you. I think if you put in your address, we'll also send you a small little gift pack, maybe a hat, some wristbands and stuff like that, along with that $400 Visa gift card. Okay, this will be a physical Visa gift card too. This won't be like a gift card back to our store or something crazy like that. You can go use this anywhere and everywhere as long as they accept Visa. Okay, so look, that's how you get in. That's how you get in to win. And I really do appreciate all of you that listen to the podcast and follow. Hey, we're going to talk about this idea of being able to recruit. And a lot of times there's different things that have to happen, different tasks, different functions, meaning maybe a job ad or this kind of thing that have to take place. But I want to talk about the bigger concept here of what we're trying to achieve. I remember the first time they told me that they couldn't, hey, it's hard to find good people here. They didn't really have a brand at that time. And that's okay. You don't necessarily always have to have a brand to attract people. It does make it easier. It definitely makes you more sticky in the marketplace. And if that brand is done correctly, if it's professional and it looks right and it's built the right way and done the right way for the right people, then it will really become an asset in your ability to recruit. But even without that brand, you can still do it. But there are some things that can hurt you. There are some things that can really keep people from wanting to work for you. And sometimes it's your brand, but sometimes it's also your social media and your marketing and different assets that are out in the marketplace that you might not even be aware of. You might not even be thinking about. I remember specifically here, they started to go through the motions of recruiting. He started putting job ads saying we're hiring, that kind of thing. And they went on Indeed and different spots and they put out some ads. But at the end of the day, even if people were reading the ads or reading the posts and saying, oh, let me see if I want to work here, the problem is when you went to their Facebook page, they had less than desirable things on there. Maybe things that good quality plumbers wouldn't align themselves with. Maybe good quality people might not align themselves with. Maybe it's a quality thing. Me specifically, if I was to go back into the plumbing world and get a job today, I would have a list of requirements. I wouldn't want, not that I'm going to be a demanding employee, but I wouldn't just work for any company. I mean, the type of people that work there are going to affect my desire to want to work there. The style of quality of not only brand and professionalism, but the building, the trucks, the equipment they use, everything I see online. If I see their guys out constantly struggling with their vehicles at the supply shop, getting their door to shut or getting their AC to work or something like that, I don't want to work there. If I see their guys struggling at the counter getting parts because their company doesn't pay their bills, I don't want to work there. You don't think that stuff doesn't... I mean, if I work for a company and I'm in line behind somebody at the counter and they get their credit card gets rejected or they get told no because the owner hasn't paid his bill, that's happened at the counter. I hear that. I don't want to work for those people. They are now off my list. And what message are you accidentally, secretly not sending, but sending to the community about your company with subconsciously with your brand and with your ads, with your comments, with your posts? I've read some of the owners' Facebook posts out there sometimes, and they are criticizing employees or criticizing customers. I don't want to work for that human. I don't want to work for that company. I don't want to be at a place where they bash their customers or bash their employees, especially publicly. If they do it publicly, oh my gosh, what are they doing behind the scenes? I don't want that awkwardness of working somewhere where my company doesn't stand behind the people, the product, the service, customer, employee. All this stuff has a major impact and it's subconscious. One of the things that I seen here recently, I was at a totally different shop. This isn't the one I've been talking about, Cornwall. This was a different shop that I was there, but there was a guy that worked there. And I was like, if I knew who that guy was and I knew that he worked there, I wouldn't work there. I'll say that again. If I was in a town working and I knew who this guy was and he worked at your company, just the fact that he worked at your company and you allowed him to work at your company would keep me from wanting to work there. See, it's a certain level of standard that we all hold for ourselves, and then we identify with what we do. If you have a high moral compass or you care about the product that you put out and you work for a company that's putting in poor quality plumbing, you're not going to want to work there anymore. If you work for a company that has somebody out there ripping people off and selling them stuff they don't need, they're not going to want to work there anymore. And you're going to lose good people because they don't say anything, but they are watching, they are paying attention, and you're busy spending all of your energy on the person who's complaining with the bad character and is constantly late or is constantly doing something. You're spending all your energy and time with them, and you're not focused and pouring into the people who are actually doing the right things, and then you end up losing the right people and keeping the bad people. That's how that typically plays out. Someone just sent me from Plumbing Tech in Ohio, out by Cleveland. Mary Beth, one of the owners there, sent me this video about a guy, and he's just talking about employees and why he lost a good employee. It wasn't them. It was a video of someone else talking, and they were just talking about this idea that they lost this really good employee. This employee was amazing, and they actually rewarded this employee a lot, gave him bonuses, gave him all kinds of stuff. But when they never asked the question they said they needed to be asked. When they finally asked him, why are you leaving? What they found out was all this time he was putting in the extra work, doing the extra, going the extra mile. He was doing it based on the premise that the company needed it and they were short staffed and he was going to be a team player and help fill in the gaps. And they just took advantage and every time they rewarded him, they actually were insulting him. Because they're like, hey, don't reward me, just hire more people so I don't have to do this no more. And eventually they just had enough and they left. And we've all done it. We've all made this mistake. We don't really fully understand not only our own vision, our own story, our own mission, but we don't understand the people that we're working with's story. The people that have decided to come work and join our mission, we don't fully understand their mission, their story, their goals, what they want. Not everybody wants to make more money and not everybody wants to have more time off. But there's a little bit of that in everywhere, right? Some people want time off. Some people want more money. Everybody's got different goals. They've also got different motivators, meaning, you know what I mean? Like sometimes telling someone they did a great job can be way more effective than a bonus on their check. And for other people, they're going to need that bonus. For other people, they're going to need recognition, maybe. Not just words of affirmation, but like straight up get everyone in a room and tell everyone else how great that person. Some people need that. Everyone needs something different. And I'm going to tell you right now, you got to figure out what that is for your future employee and for your current employee. And you got to start offering that. And you don't just offer it in words. You don't just tell them in the interview. You don't just tell them in the ad. You show them in the community by the way that you treat your current employees. You know, one of the greatest stories about all this, and look, this is what we teach inside of our program. One of the greatest stories I could tell you all about this, I want to tell you guys this, we'll solidify it, really make the point, and also we can learn something out of this. But before I go into that story, you know, if you want more information about our program, just reach out to us. info@theplumbingsalescoach.com. But this is exactly what we teach you how to do. How to create an environment and a culture to where not only you are able to recruit, but also where you're able to get your team to perform at a high level, where you get the best versions out of each person. Not only that, but your customers. You know, we're just doing these tech trainings right now where we're in this series talking about how customers can be difficult and what we do and how we navigate that. And it's not about getting them to not be difficult. It's about joining them in their fight. And we talk about all these different things and how to build relationships and diagnose and how to show customers the value in investing. And just reach out to us, info@theplumbingsalescoach.com. In fact, we have free training that used to be, I think we used to sell it one off, $797 is what it was, $800. We're giving it away for free with worksheets and everything. You get your own login. It's the full deal. It's not like just half of it. It's the whole thing. You get it for free. Reach out to us. Relationships training, info@theplumbingsalescoach.com. You can also talk to someone about getting more information about our program. But we help companies all across the U.S., Canada, even across the world with these different things. Okay, so what's the story? The story is simply about the Los Angeles Lakers. The story is really cool because at this point in time, the Lakers had won 2 more championships. Kobe Bryant was coming off his second championship run, and then a few more years later go by, and it's kind of like the writing's on the wall. Kobe's coming to the end of his career, and the Lakers need to rebuild. They need to replace. You know, it's diminished talent. They've squeezed all the lemonade out of the lemon, right? And so they're trying to figure out what to do, and so they make this crazy move that no one understands. The fans don't understand. No one gets it. In fact, they're killed for this. Everybody's ridiculing them, saying, well, they're not going to win. And what they did was they ended up re-signing Kobe for stupid amounts of money, obscene amounts of money. And what it did was it kept them from being able to invest into other free agent markets, other superstars, other people that could come and help them win. In fact, Kobe was getting old, couldn't do it on his own no more. Most teams would go talk to their superstar and say, look, you're getting older. You can't really produce what you used to be able to produce. We're going to have to spend some of the money that we spent on you on other people. And we've seen why players will go to other markets at the end of their career because the other teams are like, we'll pay you. Come on over here. And so they're like, all right. So they go. But Kobe had this relationship with the Lakers, and the Lakers understood it was much deeper than just this one moment, just this one star, just this one season or two. And what they did was they just invested in him. And they go on to lose a lot of games. They didn't, there's no like, then they came back and they won the championship. Nope, they actually did not win the championship. In fact, the only last cool thing that happens out of all this is the Lakers go on, they build a statue for Kobe. They, we all know about the helicopter crash. He passes away. In fact, his legacy is even stronger now that he's passed away, it seems like, because all these videos circulating and stories circulating about who he was as a person while he was here on Earth. And you can have your opinions about him, but here's one thing we know about that man. He worked hard. He put in the effort. And so the Lakers rewarded him for that. And what they did was they paid him for the last couple of years. Well, they lost. And somebody asked the executives, why'd you do it? They said, well, we wanted the future stars to know that this was the place to come retire. And I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful if you think about it, because that last 2 years they were investing in the next 20. Now, if you're a superstar and you're middle of your career and you're looking at organizations to go to and you pick the Lakers, or you're young. Kobe was young. Kobe spent his whole time at the Lakers. And you know if you invest in the Lakers, you know they're going to invest into you. You know that. It's more likely to think they're going to invest in you than another team that runs on bottom line and business and operations and winning. And now we're not going to. And the Lakers are a championship organization. I'm not a big fan of them currently, but they're a championship organization. Make no mistake. But they still saw the value in rewarding and to focus on what Kobe was about, because he was able to represent what other people were about and what they wanted for the future of that organization. You need to do that for your company. Stop trying to be like, well, you owe me and they work for me. And no, how can you create an environment where there's an equal exchange, where you can help them achieve their vision, their mission, their goals in life, and they can help you achieve your vision, your mission, your goals in life. And it's a relationship, not just a tyranny. And look, I'm guilty. I fall victim to this, guilty of this. I don't even want to say victim to this. I fall into this trap maybe, or I even intentionally put myself in these positions where I go tyrannical on even my own staff sometimes. But the reality is the right answer is that it's a relationship. And so you need to understand what they want out of that relationship, and they need to understand what you want out of that relationship. So it's not a lack of accountability either. It's not just to take advantage of my relationship. It's a relationship of exchange, meaning mutual exchange, mutual respect, mutual concern for one another. If they're not meeting their mark in the relationship, then maybe the relationship has to end. And that's true for all relationships, right? It's really not any different. Just there's a financial exchange inside of this relationship because you're asking for their time and their talent and their gift to produce some sort of result. So obviously there's going to be some sort of exchange there. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to relationship. People don't quit companies, they quit people. So make sure that you understand this. Create an environment worth wanting to work for. I'm not going to drive past 5 companies to come work for your company that's like or worse than the other 5 companies I just drove past. You're going to have to be better. And if you're a lot further down the road than the other 5 companies, maybe you're 10 miles further or a 20-minute drive further, then I'm going to really need to like you. So make sure you build an environment that's awesome. Make sure you build a culture that's awesome, not just with people, not just with things, but also with just the interaction with how all of you guys flow together and work as a team. And get rid of selfishness, it's a cancer. Get rid of me mentalities, it's a cancer. Get rid of the other place used to do it this way, that's a cancer. Focus on where you're going, what you're doing, and then where they're going and what they're doing and how those can align. And I promise that will generate a word of mouth referral that will start attracting other people to want to work with and for you and that company and with and for the other people at that company. Therefore, on your social media and everywhere that's visible to the world, make sure that you are presenting and showcasing something that they want to work at, something they want to work for, somewhere where they want to be. They don't want to see your employees when they're all dirty and tired. They want to see your employees having a good time. They want to see your employees enjoying their day. They want to see your customers enjoying you. They want to see clean professional work. They want to see clean professional shops. They want to see a place that will make them better. Okay, that's what they're looking for. That's what you got to offer, and that's what you got to showcase to your market. I love you guys, and as always, remember, serve your community in everything, not just plumbing. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Plumbing Sales Coach podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check us out on the web at theplumbingsalescoach.com.